Our children are just growing up so fast these days. You hear people say that all the time. Tonight, we investigate a medical condition robbing our children of their innocence and their childhood. It's called precocious puberty, baffling parents and to some degree, the medical community. We need to warn you of mature subject matter and scenes in this story that may not be suitable for all viewers. A precious baby girl delivered on Christmas Day. Milan, the firstborn, grew up surrounded by her loving family. Is this from school today?
Yeah.
Now 5, she has a proud big sister, likes showing off her pretty pink room, princesses, kitten pictures, and her heaps of hair bows and headbands.
I have a silver one downstairs.
She loves kindergarten, coloring and painting, and sharing her work. All the new and amazing and exciting things she is learning in school this year.
Pumpkins, ghosts, and bats.
On the outside, this little Bakersfield girl is very much a normal 5-year-old. But on the inside, Milan is constantly dealing with the medical issues of a grown woman. Extremely high estrogen levels, ovarian cysts, cramping, and at times, heavy bleeding. Milan's struggles began at age 2½. She was vacationing with her family in Mexico when her mom noticed breast development in her young daughter.
And within a matter of weeks, she developed pubic hair, body odor, more breast development, and vaginal discharge. So it happened real quick.
Alarmed, her parents took her to doctors in Mexico. They were told Milan was normal and that the discharge was just an infection. But they cut their vacation short, returned home, and local doctors sent her to a specialist at UCLA immediately. Grecia's main concern at that point, would her child be okay?
I didn't know what condition it was. Wherever we went, everyone was surprised. So we didn't really have time to stop and think what was going on.
Milan was diagnosed with central precocious puberty about the same time her peers were reaching developmental milestones like learning to dress themselves. By age 3, she was taking a full-blown prescription hormone suppressant called Lupron in a painful injection every month. At age 4, she was not responding to the hormone therapy.
First, she started developing again while on the treatment.
More blood work was ordered. Now, at age 5, complications keep coming. This child struggles with pain, headaches, mood swings, cramps, and ovarian cysts. And still has to get that monthly Lupron injection. Did her doctors have answers for this family as to why their child was suffering?
No, we still don't know why.
We sat down with Dr. Ching, a pediatric endocrinologist based at UCLA, who travels to Bakersfield a few times a month to meet with patients like Milan. Dr. Ching tells us precocious puberty is the early onset of puberty.
Prior to 8, for girls, if you have breast development, you're considered more precocious.
For boys, it would be described as testicular enlargement before age 9. Precocious puberty can be broken down into 3 groups. The first, central precocious, meaning your brain started puberty already. That is what Milan is diagnosed with. The second is exogenous, where the patient has been exposed to steroids.
We're talking about testosterone creams or estrogen creams.
And the third type, endogenous. These are the kids who start production of estrogen or testosterone all by themselves, without input from the brain or pituitary gland.
And those are, you could break down into tumors or some type of syndromes or something like that. They all automatically started to make estrogen or testosterone.
We read through dozens of studies on the subject and did hours of research. Could precocious puberty be sparked by environmental toxins, other things like food additives? Well, that depends on the study that you read. Some studies link it to a chemical called phthalates. Still other studies link precocious puberty to childhood obesity. Other studies are simply inconclusive.
That's nice, the black and white one.
For Milan's father, a mechanical engineer, his frustration stems from all the questions.
We didn't know how to react to it either. You have to deal with it. You just have to go with it. You can't just say, I quit.
And the toll precocious puberty is taking on his little girl.
It's because I don't like shots and I don't like doing blood work because it hurts.
We had more questions for Dr. Ching. How common is this?
It's not very common.
The doctor is currently seeing between 3 and 5 patients with precocious puberty here in Kern County.
Are we seeing more and more of it now than we were maybe 5 or 10 years ago?
Well, we certainly are getting a little bit more consultation for it.
Part of the reason, he says, is that the overall age of onset of puberty has been declining for the past 2 decades.
Right now, we're saying that puberty starts at 8, but then for African Americans, it's sooner than that.
Exact numbers are hard to track, though. Doctors are not required to report these cases to the medical board or the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, because precocious puberty is not an infectious disease. Tonight, we've uncovered what precocious puberty does to the body. But what impact does it have on a young mind? We talk with a woman now in her 30s about what it was like going through it at age 6 before there were therapies for treatment. Plus, how you can reduce the risk of your child physically maturing too soon. That's coming up tonight at 6. 1 in 5,000 children in America is currently affected by the early onset of puberty. The condition is called precocious puberty and is 10 times more common in girls. Physical symptoms can be treated with hormone therapy. But what mental challenges do these children and families face? In part 2 of my special series tonight, we investigate those issues. But I do need to warn you of mature subject matter in the following story.
She's a little more mature, you know, than other girls her age, but there's little things like, you know, in the morning, you know, she has to put on deodorant. She has to wear different type of shirts, and, you know, her body looks different.
Milan is 5 years old, diagnosed with precocious puberty at 2.5 and getting monthly hormone suppressant injection therapy. She has complications like pain, mood swings, bleeding, and breast development. Her physical challenges are a constant concern for her parents. But what about her overall emotional state?
Stressful, to be honest. Pretty stressful. It's kind of hard to deal with.
Researchers with the Mayo Clinic say children who begin puberty early may feel different from their peers, which can cause social and emotional problems, low self-esteem, depression, and substance abuse. Parents may also have trouble dealing with a child's early development, and they recommend getting professional help.
It's nice, the black and white one.
Grecia, Joel, and the kids have been in family counseling for more than a year, concerned about Milan and the impact this may be having on her little brother, Aiden. They also rely heavily on education, communication, honesty, and their loved ones.
Families, you know, more understanding when she has her mood swings. It's not because she just has an attitude.
And they understand the importance of family support after another precocious puberty diagnosis.
Recently, my little sister was diagnosed with the same thing.
Grecia's little sister is only 2.5. What happens to these children when they grow up? When they have lived with these symptoms through their childhood and are now adults?
Where it was dark, not...
This is Monique Miller. She is a 33-year-old woman. She is married. She is a mother. Someone who knows firsthand what Milan is going through and what's to come. Monique noticed body hair around age 5. Her mom took her to the doctor.
And they did CAT scans and kind of just checked everything, and the doctor said nothing wrong with her. She's just going to develop a lot sooner than most girls, and you got to prepare her.
Breast development followed at age 8. Menstruation at age 9. There wasn't a formal diagnosis. There weren't any therapies or hormone suppressants for Monique.
I kind of just had to go with it, wear deodorant, and then when I would be in class, if I ever had to raise my hand, I would use one of my long braids to cover the arm that I was going to raise before I picked it up. And I remember doing that all the time. Just anything I had to do to always keep my arms down or stop it from anybody from seeing.
She was hiding underarm hair from her 4th grade classmates. Monique credits a close group of friends and especially her mother's loving guidance for helping her through it.
Everything just started happening and I expected it.
But as she got older, Monique was dealing with something else, a sex drive she didn't understand.
It brought on other feelings, you know, just the natural pubescent stuff you go through 15, 16, 17, you're feeling at 11, 12, 13, and you shouldn't really feel those things, whether excitement, the other things that all these hormones are causing.
Years later, she is still dealing with heavy facial hair, something she attributes to hormonal issues.
Been doing laser treatments for the last 10 years, and it just doesn't go away, so I'm always dealing with it, waxing, bleaching, whatever's out there I do.
Can precocious puberty be prevented? Some risk factors simply can't be avoided, like sex and race, but you may be able to reduce your child's chances of developing it. You're advised to keep kids away from external sources of estrogen and testosterone that can be found in things like prescription medications and supplements. Also, encourage your child to maintain a healthy weight. Monique has advice for parents who may find themselves in this situation.
You got to have open communication with your kids and definitely talk to them about everything. Do whatever you can to keep your children young.
Something Milan's family is striving to do each and every day.
I know she's going to be okay.
At the end, her happiness is really what matters.
Milan will eventually stop getting those injections and puberty will take its natural course. If you notice symptoms of precocious puberty like early breast development, auxiliary hair, rapid growth, mood swings, or body odor, take your child to your pediatrician. They can evaluate the situation and make a referral to a specialist if needed.
Very fascinating and courageous that they shared their story. Lisa, what about support groups?
Well, right now they only have support groups that are online, but Joel and Grecia are hoping that stories like this will change that and will help them get the word out to other families who may be dealing with it locally.
Amazing. All right, thank you, Lisa.